This is the whole PC gaming setup that I bought from Amazon. You get everything you need to start gaming, and yes, it actually plays some games. So today, we're gonna be looking at everything you get with this setup, how it performs, then at the end, I'll tell you if I think it's worth it or not. Let's get into it. Yo, what's up guys? I was doing what I always do and I was scrolling on Amazon, but this time I was trying to find an affordable gaming PC and the goal was to stay under $400. There was a good amount of variety, but all the listings I came across were honestly straight dog shit. None of the options were really worth the money until I came across this listing. It's a whole gaming setup for under $600. At first I thought, what the hell? Then I read the description. You get a monitor, keyboard, mouse, speakers, and the PC? Sure, the specs aren't anything too crazy, but a couple clicks later, and my wallet was yelling at me. It came with Prime shipping, so I'll see you when it gets here. Well, this package showed up, and to be fair, I've had it for a couple weeks. I've been pretty busy, but let's open it up. This video is sponsored by Super CDK. If you just built a new computer, whether that's a flip or one of your personal builds, and you need to activate Windows, then visit them down below. They have Windows 10 and Windows 11 keys, but before you check out, be sure to use the discount code SPLA to save some extra money on checkout. And once you get the key, activating it is super easy. Just copy and paste it straight into the window activation settings on your computer. Thank you Super CDK for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check them out down below. As I open up this package, I'd like to share some things with you. When I had originally bought the computer, it was $589 after tax. There has now been a price drop, and it is $468 on Amazon. Huge W for that price drop, baby. It was also bought from the Amazon Renewed store, so it was titled as refurbished and came with the 90-day return policy. Well, here's all the contents of the setup. We got the mouse, keyboard, speakers, monitor, and the PC. First things first, I just want to say A+ on the shipping. Had a lot of this foam and everything fit pretty snug in the box. And they also included a little quick start guide. Good job to the seller. Let's check out these peripherals. So it does look like the keyboard is a membrane one, which isn't the best. I'd rather have mechanical, but hey, for the price, we can't complain. I don't know though. That thing feels pretty cheap. There's some nice flex to it. Oh no. Oh no. Hopefully the mouse is a little bit better. Okay, the mouse does feel a little bit higher quality than the keyboard. Doesn't feel as cheap. There's a pretty cool like fan design. Definitely looks all gamery. 2 mouse buttons, no side buttons. There is a DPI button, and this also looks like it has RGB. All right, let's open up these little speakers. Well, they are tiny. Look at these things. Well, I guess we'll see how these sound. They have a pretty cool design. They look sick. They definitely smell like they're from Wish though. Next up is this monitor. It says it's a wide LED, flicker-free, wide viewing angle, VA panel, and LEDs, full HD. So it sounds like it's a 1080p 60 Hz monitor. Got a little metal legs, power brick, another part to the stand, and a little HDMI cord. Okay, here's the monitor. Okay, wow, that actually looks pretty good. Compared to the keyboard, mouse, and speakers, this thing doesn't feel really cheap. I'm excited to see it powered on. Well, here it is with the little stand. There is no adjustability. Now let's take a look at this little PC. This thing is freaking tiny, and the design on the front is wicked looking. Looks like we actually got some extra stuff at the top. This looks like a little USB Wi-Fi dongle, and looks like we get an RGB remote. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is just hook it all up. Plugged in. All right, got everything plugged in. Moment of truth, baby. Little power button. Oh, wow. We get lights right away. Anything on the monitor? That's a pretty cool looking design on the front. Come on, give us a post. Give us a post. The little keyboard and mouse aren't lighting up. Is the monitor on? Monitor's on. Okay, there we go. HP. That's what our PC is, I assume. Come on, baby. Hey, looks like we're loading in. Ooh, and we get the little RGB on the keyboard now. Okay, well, hey, it seems like this thing is about to work. So before we test it out, Let's go ahead and take a deeper look at this PC, go over the specs, and then we'll show the performance. So after getting everything set up, it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks like a proper budget gaming setup. This little PC is powering it all. On the front, you get a pretty cool design, a Type-C port, 4 USB ports, and a headphone jack. I'm surprised to see a Type-C port on this thing. On the back, you also get a lot more USB ports, and it has 2 monitor outputs from the low-profile GPU. Speaking of the GPU, it's a low-profile GTX 1050 Ti. Then we get 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 512 gigabyte SSD, and of course, it's an Intel i7 6700. Like I said, specs aren't anything too crazy, but it should be able to handle some esports titles. Of course, at first I'm going to test Fortnite. The goal for this game is to at least achieve 100 FPS. I feel like this PC can do that. I'm just going to be testing in normal BR mode, so let's go. And then also, let's go ahead and take a look at the settings that it defaulted to. Looks like we're running at 1080p. DirectX 11 with settings set to high. TBH, I don't think the system will be able to handle that, but hey, let's just see what it can do, see how good or how bad it is. Okay, just loaded into the pre-game lobby. It's choppy. Okay. Oh, everything kind of loaded in a little bit more. Now it's sitting at 30 FPS. Oh, you can see that CPU is at 90C. That's running pretty hot. I think we're definitely gonna have some thermal throttling. Before we jump out of the bus, I'm gonna drop it down to just a medium preset instead of high. Should be a little bit more smooth. Okay, in the air, we're like right above 60 FPS. Temps on the CPU dropped a little bit. They're kind of all over the place though. Now that we're approaching the floor, I'm gonna start an FPS test. There we go. All right, baby, let's go get some kills. Well, I played like a bot. It said it was averaging like a 90 FPS, but it was super choppy. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop it down to performance mode, and then we'll test it again. All right, we're back in with performance mode. It's at 1080p, unlimited FPS, 100% 3D res scale, far view distance, and everything else on low. Let's go ahead and just jump right out of the battle bus. Round 2, baby. How are we averaging less? That don't make sense. Oh, it's lagging. I hate all the new like bots and stuff they added in this freaking update, dude. Like, bro, what? What is this? So dumb. Okay, but running around, we are averaging 100 FPS. The 1% lows are pretty low though. To be fair, those are bad. Let's go, baby. No, I'm finna take the L on this guy. Yeah, Fortnite's dumb. Let's play another game. Okay, I ended up testing Apex Legends at 1080p with all low settings. And sure, I set it to all low, but to be real right now, it actually looked pretty good. When I first loaded in, I had to double check it if it was actually on all low settings. I ran a team deathmatch and it averaged 70 FPS with a 1% low of 40. Keeping it light, I decided to test Rainbow Six Siege. I just ran the in-game benchmark at 1080p with medium settings and I set the FOV to 90. The PC averaged 129 FPS with a 1% low of 48. For shits and giggles, I decided to test Cyberpunk just to see what it was capable of. And I mean, it wasn't not playing. At first it took forever to load like I expected it would, but then it finally did, so the system gets a thumbs up just for loading in. I ran the in-game benchmark at low settings and it averaged 34 FPS with a 1% low of 19. Then I also tested TimeSpy and the system scored 2,378. Overall, this PC setup is pretty decent for the money. Sure, it's not achieving a steady 144 FPS with decent 1% loads, but it does get you up and running, so I'll give it that. I quickly want to mention the MVP of this setup. The PC isn't anything too crazy, but the monitor, it surprised me. Actually, to be fair, the PC surprised me too. I did not expect 30 FPS in Cyberpunk. Anyways, the monitor, sure, it doesn't have any adjustability, kind of just sits there on the desk, but it has decent viewing angles, colors are all right, and it's actually 75 Hertz. Not too bad. Now let me tell you if I think the setup is worth it or not. Straight up, it's not worth it. Of course, that is my opinion, but let me back it up with some facts. At the time of purchasing this Amazon gaming setup, it was $580 after tax. Like I said, it did receive a price drop, so now it is about $100 cheaper, so we will use that price for our budget. If you were to just use that money and build a similar setup, instead of buying this one, then this is what it would look like. I would buy this Dell Optiplex 7040. You can get the one that has the same 6th gen i7 with 16GB RAM and a 512GB SSD. I'd rather buy this Dell Optiplex because it is bigger, so you can fit bigger GPUs instead of being restricted to a low profile GPU. I guess in this circumstance, size does matter. That Dell Optiplex can be bought for around $140, but you shouldn't be paying more than I did. I paid $159, so that leaves us with $329 left to spend for the rest of the setup. With the rest of the money, you pick yourself up a GTX 1060 3GB or a 6GB version for around $60. This will give us better performance than the 1050 Ti for cheaper, but if you want to go with the AMD card, you can fit the RX 580 8GB version into this budget. And to finish off the setup, you buy yourself a budget monitor from Amazon. Don't pay more than $120, and in that price range, you'll get something between 60Hz to 144Hz, depending on the sales at the time. Then spend about $50 on a budget mechanical keyboard. Don't spend more than $50 in this budget, and that will get you something way better than the piece of plastic that we got. So that leaves us about $109 left in the budget to spend on a mouse. So you can either splurge and get a really nice wireless mouse, or get a budget mouse and get a nice budget headset instead of those cheap speakers. So building that setup eats up the whole budget, and for some of you it might cost more than $468, but it is better than the Amazon gaming setup. Now, I'm not saying this Amazon gaming setup is completely trash. It's good for some people, but if you do have the extra time and you want to build your own, then that's what I would do. Build what I recommended, and I'll have everything linked down below. If you would like to see a video where I just build the setup I recommended, then comment "crush this PC" down below. If I see enough comments, then I'll think about it. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Personally me, I really enjoyed making this type of video where I buy a budget PC and just see if it's worth it or not. And it kind of got me thinking of a series idea. Buy or bust. Basically the whole idea of the series is just this video. I buy a budget PC or a setup, and by the end of it, I just see if it's worth it or not. If that sounds like a fun series to you and you would like to see it happen, then let's get this video to 2,000 likes. Anyways, I appreciate you listening to me talk, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.